Hello, fellow baggers, and welcome back to Bluebaggers Edge. Well, the trade and draft period is done and dusted, but we still have one list spot remaining, which we opted to keep open to trial a couple of names, and familiar ones at that, as train-on players in order to narrow down as to who will get that spot. And these two players are familiar to us already in the form of Elijah Hollands and Will White. As we know, Hollands, of course, had his struggles off-field in 2025 as he battled a self-admitted alcohol issue linked to mental health, which led in part largely to being delisted with a year remaining on his contract. Now, despite this, he has been invited back to the club, and it gives him a bit of a kick up the arse to get his shit together, as this is his final chance. He already used up his first chance after being reprimanded for off-field indiscretions, you'll call it, recreational drug-related possession during his time at the Suns, which saw him suspended for 2 matches shortly after being traded to the club. Now, I spoke about this at length in one of my previous videos, but there was an article detailing how his mental health suffered during 2025, and as a result, he made the incorrect decision to turn to alcohol as an outlet, which only exacerbated the situation until he fully sought help through professional means. It was as a result of this that trust was broken with the wider playing group and coaching staff, and the club decided to make a stand and tore up his contract and give him a little bit of a, as I said, a bit of a rocket. But in that article, he does speak candidly about acknowledging that he made the wrong decision, and he's genuinely remorseful and has learnt to seek help through the right avenues in mental health professionals. Now, with the boys hitting the training track on their preseason camp in Lorne, assistant coach Ash Hansen said he has been impressed with the early work the midfielder has put in to earn back his list spot since players returned to the track. This is what he had to say on the 3RW with Jimmy Bartell.
Elijah Hollands, of course, he was told to explore other options, and if he could get to another club, he didn't. How's he responded to that, and what is the plan with him?
Yeah, we're never going to hold a player back from looking to explore a position on a list if they can get one. But certainly he's been invited back to train and was in our top 2 of our time trial. So that's an indication that he's doing the work. I guess any time a player gets that news, it's information, and what you do with that is up to you. And he's been really proactive, obviously, in the way he's gone about his preparation. We know he's highly skilled. It's about putting in the work and being a consistent player, and the opportunities there for him over the summer to train with us and a spot on the list, which he's looking to compete for.
Now, as Hansen points out, rightfully so, his skill set isn't the issue here for Hollands and not what he is auditioning for or really has to prove himself with. It's purely putting in the work outside of that in terms of behaviour and attitude-wise as well. But it must be highlighted, finishing top 2 in the time trial will go some way to proving that he is indeed switched on, head in the game, and is keen to be serious about things and earn back his trust from the playing group and the coaches and ultimately get that final spot on the list. As we know, not all players get the chance at redemption, and it shows really that the club knows how talented he is. There's probably no question about that, and how much of a contribution that he can make to the club, provided that he correct his behaviour and his attitude. Talent or not, though, this is his final chance. There is no 2 ways about it. Now, we fleetingly saw Lige in 2025, of course, restricted to 5 games, very fleetingly so due to the reasons that we outlined, but it was during these games that he played that we were reminded how impactful he can be and how he plays such an important role to the team in that high half-forward / wing type role. He's an incredible ball user, as we know, which we cried out for massively, especially in 2025, and has the ability to have an impact forward of centre. And as we struggle to fill his vacancy, really did, I think, underline the value that he brings to the side. Now, in light of all of these troubles, I think that we need to remind ourselves as well that he is still quite young. He's young enough, 23 years of age, to learn from those mistakes that he has made, and in a footballing sense, tap into his talent a little bit further. I think he possesses a very, very high ceiling when we're talking about potential-wise, and what we've seen so far has been impressive from him, but I think there is even more layers to Lige than we have yet to see. We must remember in his draft year, he was actually touted as a number 1 pick potential, of course, before he did his ACL and that wiped out his draft year. The talent is clearly there. He just needs to switch on mentally and in terms of his attitude. Now, the other player, of course, that we mentioned from the top, auditioning for this last spot on the list is Will White, and he's been invited back as a train-on player as well. And it was really only this time last year, it's quite funny, that he was granted that last spot on the list as a SSP player. In the end, he played 14 games in 2025. He kicked 10-11 with his best haul, 3 goals, 1 against North Melbourne in round 6. And I must say, personally watching him, he did impress me across numerous games. And whilst he isn't the most naturally gifted, I mean, if you're comparing him to Hollands especially, there's no way that he is as naturally gifted as Hollands. But I think that he did show enough to suggest that he can be very serviceable at senior level. But I think having said all that, with our endless number of smaller forwards on our list, it did see him become a little bit more expendable and be among the host of delestees at season's end. And the depth in our smaller forward brigade has had further layers added to it, with the signing of mid-season draftee Flynn Young, of course, and then we had Ainsworth crossover from the Suns in the trade period, and then in the national draft, Taylor Byrne being picked up as well. In terms of new faces auditioning as well, there is a guy by the name of, get this, and I'm not joking, Wes Wally.
Where's Wally?
Where's Wally?
No, not the bloke in the glasses with the stripy red and white jumper and beanie. This is an 18-year-old, 184cm forward who was in West Coast Next Generation Academy, who went undrafted. But whilst he has been flown over from WA to, I guess, audition, he isn't officially trialling for a spot, but more so a spot in our VFL side. But what this indicates to me is the club wants to bring him closer into the fold, so he's under their watchful eye in order to track his form and progress in the VFL system to see if he is worthy of taking a punt on. Potentially, we'll have to wait and see in the mid-season rookie draft if injuries crop up and, I guess, throw up a spare spot. Despite going undrafted, the club obviously sees he possesses talent and could be a bit of a diamond in the rough. So give him a full preseason and make a more informed call thereafter. So there we have it. Bit of a nice little update there and a promising one at that, particularly relating to Lige. What about you? If you had the chance at choosing, would you give the spot to Lige or would you give it to Will White? Do you think that Lige has had enough chances? Or do you think that there's more for him to give? And if he can turn things around in terms of behaviour, attitude, and just having his head in the game, can he get the best out of himself? Personally, I am all in on Lige, as I think White is up against it anyway, as I spoke about with the amount of small forwards that we do have on our list and that we've since added, through recruitment, trading-wise, to beef up what is already a beefed-up small forward brigade. And in closing, I just want to take this opportunity to thank every single one of you for your insane support, having cracked the 1K subscriber mark. It's really, a testament to our shared love and passion for all things navy blue. And I appreciate all of you who tune in, whether it be once off, whether it be, if you're a regular tuner inner, if that even is a word, or if you are a newbie, of course. So I do appreciate every single one of you for tuning in and providing the support that you have across the journey. So thank you, one and all. And also, before I sign off, don't forget as well that we are now available in audio podcast format. So if you are interested in consuming our content via those means instead, feel free to go and check it out. We are available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But until next time, ladies and gents, thanks as always for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one. Go Baggers.
Have you ever heard?